take part in Formula One, you first have to build a car. To have any chance of winning the championship, you will need space-age materials, state-of-the-art technology, and a room full of computers. McLaren has them all.
Everything on the car essentially is automatic. It's what we call fly-by-wire. There's no physical link between the driver and the rear of the car at all.
These are the governing body of motorsport say that you've got to have a car at a minimum weight, 505 kilos. And the penalties are very strict if you're underneath that weight.
This is the steering wheel they use. Basically it's all automatic, but this is how they change gear now, with these little paddles behind the steering wheel.
It's carbon fibre, but it's got a honeycomb infill, and that's built to withstand a fair degree of pressure.
The brakes we use now are carbon fibre. They're carbon fibre pads, carbon fibre discs. It's about $15,000 for one set of brakes as well.
Their engine management system and the electronic brain here controls suspension, throttles, and the gearbox changing.
We now have an active suspension system which keeps the car at the right attitude wherever it is on the circuit.
The System Atlas is our own system, actually designed and manufactured. It stands for Advanced Telemetry Linked Acquisition System.
Yes, what we see here on the screen is a collection of all the data we receive from the car, either by a telemetry link, which means by radio, or when the car comes into the pit. This is actually where the car is at this moment in time. We have displayed the gear selected by the driver or by the gearbox along the racetrack. This type of display allows us to evaluate whether the gears selected are exactly as you need to have optimized lap time. Another important screen throughout the race is that screen on the top, which is a so-called bar graph screen. What you have here is like in a thermometer, different parameters displayed, and if they get critical, then they change their color. Here, as you see in one example, red, where the oil pressure is too low, or here blue, where the lap time was too long, and therefore something must have happened to the driver. What we see here is the red line is the engine rev. This light blue one is the speed of the car. The dark blue one is the acceleration to the side inside the car, lateral acceleration as we call it. The green one is the acceleration in direction of the driving. The white one is the position of the butterfly, whether the driver puts down the accelerator or not. And this pink one is the gear selected by the driver or by the gearbox.
To build cars like these requires a combination of research lab and factory. At Woking, McLaren has created both, and they're the envy of Formula One. The test rigs, the electronics, and the high-powered computing would do credit to the aerospace industry. Here they design and build a new car for the start of every season, and then spend the rest of the year working to improve its performance. As each new modification comes off the computer and out of the workshop, it is tried out on the track. McLaren tests a lot. This year alone, their 19-strong test team will spend 78 days evaluating everything from aerodynamic settings to software packages. Today they're testing a new version of their Ford Cosworth engine.
All right, can I have a feedback from the engine and gearbox gentlemen to see if there is any tweaking and tuning on the engine to do? I wish to have another set of tires.
Rich?
Manager Dave Ryan explains the importance of this test.
We want to win races, we want to win the championship, so it's a pretty good car. The car can be better, and the engine can be better. We've got to try and squeeze every bit out of it we can.
Driving for the test team at Silverstone today are Michael Andretti and test driver Mika Hakkinen. Supervising the work on the new engine in Mika's car is race engineer Giorgio Ascanelli. He knows why he enjoys testing.
More technical involvement, I'd say. Technicalities is more important than then rapidity of operation. I mean, what you do in the race meeting is really looking after the change of the circuit, looking at what the opposition does, but really you are tuning the car to the needs of the moment more than doing some serious technical exercise. Testing is more enjoyable, it's harder work, and it can be pretty frustrating as today, but still I prefer testing.
Yeah, I mean, these two back here don't look like they're working, do they?
No. Sorry, did you say? Well, either we've got an irregular spread of mixture, or we're running with 4 cylinders.
The front two are bright red, and the back two are...
Well, it's a different shape, obviously. These ones are always going to glow better than the others, but I think we're missing 4 cylinders.
Testing in Formula One is an exacting business. So many things can affect a car's performance on the track that it's often hard to measure the impact of the modification that's being tested. Wind, weather, or a marginally changed setup to the car can all add seconds to a lap time, or even the performance of the driver. In this test session, a crisis of confidence seems to be affecting Mika Häkkinen.
Like complex, you accelerate more and more.
The problem was
Further you go through the corner, more the rear end goes like this. The more it goes like this, finally it snaps away, like the rear tire. Yeah.
So you've got the power understeer, and then in the middle of the understeer, all of a sudden the rear gives up and goes away from you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and the car wants to swap ends.
That's right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So effectively, as you are scrubbing speed off and the front gets too positive in the entry of bracket, you will have the front rider correcting and coming up a little bit to avoid the rear. Yeah?
Thinking about it.
Okay, stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Think to drive the car. Go quicker. Once we've done that, we do the weight at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah? I promise you, swear. 5 laps again, 5 time laps, you'll have the ball.
So far, the new engine doesn't seem to be performing as well as expected. Head of the test team, Pat Fry, thinks he spotted a problem.
Watching the car doing a start, the on and off the throttle, the car is jumping. Not much, I mean, 3 mil at the front, 4 or 5 mil at the rear. It's strange. That's what it looked like anyway. I can't think of any strategy.
We shouldn't have any correction at 0 speed.
Okay, yeah.
Unless you've got a pressure problem, or unless...
Well, you can't have a pressure problem when you're revving your bollocks off it, can you?
Giorgio has to find answers to some difficult questions. What's the reason for the car's lack of performance? Is it the new engine? Or is it, as he increasingly suspects, the inexperience of the driver?
I just wouldn't like to have introduced a variable on the car which may sort of change the kind of judgment which you are giving to this experiment. If you do have a problem, if you think that you're losing time car-wise, you should tell so. The other thing is, Michael has just run at 22.8. I understand it's flat through bridge. I'm getting a comparison of the 2 laps.
I mean, the only big thing we've changed since yesterday is the nose assembly, isn't it?
Yep.
Seems to be losing nearly a second through the complex, doesn't he, so, Michael?
I know. Are we saying that he's lost interest? Could be, huh?
Lap is same.
Well, looks like you're losing a lot under braking there.
And here,
Yes?
even not braking very hard, you can see it. can't brake hard, it doesn't stop.
Okay.
Yeah. The second thing is, when I come to the complex, I lose in the back end very easily. Is it because the brakes, or is it because the wind? I believe the wind is not much different than yesterday.
Wait a second. We come back to this.
Okay.
And then you're coming through the straight, and you are exactly the same as yesterday.
Yeah.
So if I have to judge it, we've got a car problem, we haven't got an engine problem here. You say that the circuit is different yesterday from today. This is Michael's time. You are the black, Michael's is the green. Of course, he's pulling less speed because he's got more wing on. Then he's braking a lot later in through Beckett.
He's the black one.
You are the black one.
Yeah, okay. I'm braking later. Yeah?
He's braking later.
Right.
We've got a car problem or a brain failure. A problem of driver confidence. He's coming to the garage, he's coming into the track, he's told us that the engine had no power. Fine. Michael wasn't out yet. We had no reason not to believe him because we didn't have any comparison. Nobody else was out in the time. Michael went out with the 22.8, he started looking at the numbers and he's slower in the corners, and the engine doesn't appear to have a problem. Now he's not gonna drive it. I mean, I bet that if you change the engine, as soon as you give him the excuse, carry on, he's going to carry on and be quicker again. And the fact that we're running a gurney flap or not is irrelevant.
You can demonstrate that to me, can't you?
Yes, I will.
and then I'm happy.
Right.
It's rare for one test to provide definitive answers. The Formula One car of today is too complex to allow for easy solutions. As far as McLaren's new engine is concerned, Giorgio thinks he knows what is required.
I cannot say that the engine has got more power or less power. I can say that the engine is different. I'm sure of one thing. We haven't worked long enough on it to establish the true limit of this one. I think there is a lot more to do.
Throughout the year, the program of testing goes on. The engine is just part of the package. As crucial to the car's performance are the technical devices McLaren has developed to improve the car's road holding, like the computer-controlled active suspension.
He's now idling at 4,000. I'm not going to send him out. We've had him.
But this season, a threat has hung over the team's use of advanced technology. Motor racing's governing body, FISA, thinks that Formula One has become too predictable. The front of the grid is too often dominated by the same few teams, because only they can afford the latest technology. FISA wants to cut down the cost and complexity of Formula One and make the competition more equal. But still, the announcement from its technical scrutineers in Montreal comes as a shock. At the Canadian Grand Prix, they suddenly decide that active suspension is against the rules. Ron Dennis detects a hidden agenda in the scrutineers' findings.